number to call in if you guys want to talk is 718-508-9883. And I think Bay right now is on the other line with our guest, and we're going to be talking about Matador, which is a new show that's on the El Rey Network. For those of you that don't know, that's sort of Robert Rodriguez's new network that they launched. The first series was From Dusk Till Dawn, which did very well, and then Matador came along right after, which is quickly going to be one of my favorite shows. But it sounds like Bay's back. Are you there?
I'm back, and the question is, Nick, are you ready?
I think I am.
All right, here we go. Let's get her on here, and let's welcome to Totally Driven Radio, all thanks to Nick, the one, the only, Christina Ochoa, correct?
Correct.
Awesome.
Hello, guys.
Right. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good.
We're doing good.
Now, I'll say right off the bat, I'm going to embarrass my co-host, Nick. I had no idea who you are until 2 weeks ago. Nick is like this TV guru, like a guy who watches an obsessive amount of TV. And he presented this list of people to me, and he said, here, and you were on the list. So now, like, you are on my radar of life. Matador's on my radar of life. So he's been teaching me new things in the world of TV, and you were one of my lessons.
Nick is my kind of guy. I like it.
Oh, absolutely. And like I was saying when you guys were on hold, the show is a couple episodes and now more than a few, and it's quickly becoming the show that I can't wait to watch. A lot of my viewing is left for DVR and at a later date, and Matador is one that every week I'm pretty much ready to go.
Oh, that's great. I love hearing that.
Now, and something else he told me, which I want to talk about this stuff first, is, which he intimidated me. He said, you know, she's not like a normal actress. She's really smart. She's like a scientist. So I was like, what? Wait, huh? Wait, how does this happen? So,
you know what? I swapped one kind of shark for another. And, yeah, I mean, I, you know, scientist by training, actress now by trade is what I usually say when people ask me that dreaded question of, like, what do you do? Because I'm very fortunate and I get to work in both worlds. I actually, if shooting schedule permits, I still get to work in science and science communication, and so I'm very fortunate, and it's just two kind of ends of the spectrum. It's great.
Now, and as I was going through things, it seems that the main thing that you study is like the ocean and fish, and I guess like marine biology would be called?
Yes.
Now, how many years were you studying that?
That was a total, because I switched from, my major was marine biology, and then I switched it to, it's the same, it's oceanographic engineering is the technical name.
Okay.
So it was 5 years. It was 5 years until I graduated. So it was one extra year, basically.
Now, are you still involved in that at all, or?
I work in science communication more so now, not within the scientific community. So I host a show where I'm kind of like their science and math correspondent, and I come in and I talk about the news and science. I have a podcast that revolves a little bit more around kind of the scientific world and STEM, so science and technology, engineering and math. And so it's kind of a permanent, it's a constant in my life.
And that was one of the things that I really liked. When I was doing, my early research, I had come across like sirens, and you did a podcast or a video show where you talked about the cosmos and stuff like that. And I really liked the idea of how you were just trying to make science accessible and fun, and it just was really, really awesome.
Well, I think we think it's fun, especially with the sirens. It's for actresses, and we're all very enthusiastic about everything that's happening and the development in science and kind of scientific literacy. So we geek out. We love everything that's happening right now, and so it's easy to share that enthusiasm with everyone else. And I actually think that people are much more interested in having kind of an intellectually inquisitive lifestyle, and more so than a vacuous and superficial one, much more than we think. So if you just provide that platform for them, I think people respond really fast and really well to it.
The one thing I was thinking too, as I was thinking, like, I was reading all this, I was saying to myself, like, your parents, like, had to be really proud, like, you were, like, pursuing all this stuff and, becoming, like, so well educated and, the quote unquote scientist. And then you were, like, venturing into the world of entertainment and acting. Were they disappointed at any point, like, by you choosing that, or?
You know what? I don't think they were. I'm very, very lucky that my entire family, both of my parents, they're very supportive, and any endeavor that I've had when I've obviously taken seriously, they've just supported me and wanted me to be happy and successful. And the only thing is they've made sure that I had good work ethic regardless of the field. Like, it was very important for them that if I'm committing to something and I pull through, I keep my word, I do the work, I put in, all the effort that needs to come in. But they were very supportive, and my dad's an artist, he's a sculptor. So, for him it was easy to accept.
Right. Now, something else, too, as I was reading this, it hit me, and I started laughing. And I said to myself, being that you're a person who has studied, the ocean and the fish and all that, and now that you're acting, what is your whole take as a scientist on the movies like Sharknado?
You know what? I actually think Sharknado it's not a movie. It's a phenomenon. Like, the whole Sharknado thing, it's insane. For entertainment's sake, I think things like Sharknado are great. I'm a huge fan of sci-fi. I'm a huge fan of even fantasy is very appealing to me. I think the problem comes more with things like Shark Week, becoming this new kind of just manipulated phenomenon where you have scientists that are being interviewed to talk about one thing, and then the way they edit it is they're very misled, and then they're put together to make shock value assessments, and they have people talking about, like, a giant shark called Submarine, and you have the mermaid documentary. Like, don't mislead people. If you're making a documentary, take it seriously. If you're making a movie, Sharknado, why not? It's fun. It's entertainment.
Yeah, I just started laughing when I was reading that stuff, and it just popped in my head as I was going through. I said, I gotta ask. I just gotta ask.
You know what? Because I'm an actress, for me, it's very easy to just think about it as a product and like a movie and art. When I go to the movie with my friends, though, most of them, they're mostly scientists and science communicators, and it's really hard to enjoy a movie sometimes with them, as wonderful people as they are, because they'll be sitting there, and, my friend who's an entomologist will be like, oh, that's wrong. Those cockroaches would only be in Madagascar. They would not be in that region, and that is false. Like, it is a little hard for me to enjoy it when I'm going with them, but still, I can appreciate movies for what they are, and I love them.
Were you upset that you weren't asked to have a cameo in there?
Sharknado. I was severely offended that they did not make me the star of Sharknado 2. So completely offended. Yes.
Yeah, or you were not a consultant.
Yes.
Well, and speaking of stars, okay, I have to talk about Matador for a minute here, because I think that this week's episode, I think that if you look back years from now, this is going to be that sort of catalyst, because I'm telling you, I saw something special in this week's episode. The relationship with the main character is very sort of they played with my emotions this week. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, that is going to be the glue that holds the show together, I think. The relationship there is going to be the backbone because there's the friendship and the attraction, and because of the just amazing chemistry between you and Bravo. To me, it was almost like the Dawson and Joey moment, and I said that on Twitter earlier today. And it really is, like, I can almost, like, in my mind, that's where it all starts going, explosion.
Oh, I love it. I love hearing that. Yeah, yesterday's episode where, kind of like the chemistry builds for Tony Bravo, which is played by Gabriel Luna, and Karen Morales, my character. Like, it definitely, something happens and it climaxes a little bit with the, that chemistry and that interaction, and there's a lot happening in this one tiny, time frame, and it was really exciting to shoot. And come on, how could you not have chemistry with someone like that? I mean, it's easy. It's easy. It's insane. Gabriel Luna, he's phenomenal. He's so great, and we're such great friends. Like the environment on set is just very conducive to that friendship and that intimacy developing.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, like, I watch a lot of TV, like they said. I study it and I read about it, and there's something there that it's magical. That's the only way I can describe it, because I can see it unfolding in front of me. I can sort of see, the little turns that it might take, but I think the audience is really going to respond to the will they, won't they, and just the general closeness of that relationship, because, there's a friendship in there as well. And just the way it was portrayed by both of you, it boiled up, and then it simmered down, and then it exploded with, the agent and the brother situation. And it just played with I was so upset. But it was very well done.
I mean, I love hearing that, Nick. That's a wonderful compliment. Definitely something that, it just makes my day. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, I mean, the writers do an amazing job, obviously. They, kind of put all those nuances into the characters and the relationship. And then, working with some of the actors that we have, that was the first time, too, that Nikki and I even shared a screen, so it was really fun for us because we had been dying. We're both big Star Wars fans. We both geek out a lot. We're big nerd girls on set, and we hadn't worked together until that episode, and it was very exciting. And then we have scenes in the future that are very good. And then same thing with Yvette. I hadn't worked with her, and this was funny, and her and Fred. And so it was really, really fun, and it was a great episode. To shoot, at least, it was amazing.
Yeah, Bay, I'm telling you, you gotta get on the Matador bandwagon here. And
yeah, Bay, you got to get on the Matador bandwagon.
I'm going to get on the bandwagon. Now, see that I am not officially on the bandwagon as of yet. As a newbie, I got to ask a couple questions. Is this the first season?
It is, and that's why I'm so impressed, because you don't see the sort of nuance in TV writing in the first season of a cable TV show, and it's absolutely mind-boggling how good it is.
Wow. Okay. This way, I don't have much to catch up on then.
No, we're only on episode 7. That's the one that just aired this week, of 13, and we were actually really fortunate because it's kind of unprecedented in TV, but we got renewed for a second season even before we aired the pilot.
Wow.
So that was very, very exciting, and definitely a big cause for celebration for all of us on set. We partied, we had, we screamed, we got excited. It was really great.
How does that happen?
And they're only the second show on the entire network.
Yes.
But how do you get renewed?
But come on, guys. I mean, yeah, it's the second show, but it's the best one.
No,
hands down the best one.
There's two very different shows on that network, but they're both very good. And one of the amazing things about the network is that they sort of include this this very different culture than what you've sort of seen on American TV lately, but they don't do it in a sort of stereotypical or like up-in-your-face sort of way. It just, with the soccer and with the Mesoamerican storyline and everything, it's just happening very naturally. And I think it works out better that way because it doesn't feel forced, if that makes sense.
I think what they're doing is, honestly, they're just doing a great job at portraying what America looks like today. Like, they're portraying the Latino family, but where, the kids, they grew up at school in English. They're all speaking English. So even though they're having a quinceañera, they're talking in English with all of their friends, and they're portraying a very nice range of different ethnicities and backgrounds, and, whether it be on the soccer team or it be, kind of like with the family. I think that they're just being very realistic when it comes to the kind of mix of different kind of people that we have nowadays.
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely.
So going back to where you were saying that there's the two shows on the network, and you guys are the best. So it's safe to say that you guys are, quote unquote, the biggest fish in the little pond. Yeah. Probably, but you know what? Evolution will take care of that, and we'll start growing appendages soon. So we're fine. And we're gonna take over. So I'm not concerned. I mean, we're so lucky. The cast and the crew and the team and the production team and everyone is so excited and so happy. It's so nice to be on a show that's really a family. We hang out on our free time all the time. We have gatherings. We have excursions. We watch the shows together. So it's really nice, and I think that contributes to the quality of the show. We were very lucky to have such a great response from the audience and the critics and all the reviews. But at the end of the day, we are just so happy in our little bubble anyway that it almost didn't matter. So were you guys like gathered around watching the finale of True Blood?
No, but we do watch our own show together and cuddled up and,
Hey, it was worth a shot, hey.
No.
Were you guys?
Me and Nick
we were
cuddled up and watching it, yes.
We were watching it. We were covering it in 3 different states, so. But I'll tell you one thing that's sort of unrelated to Matador is all week long I've been really excited to have you come on because not just because of the acting and my love for the show, but also because for about the past 14 months, my daughter's had sort of this growing obsession with marine life and marine biology, and we've been talking a lot about her future in college, and I had she was telling James Cook in Australia is like what she's focused on right now, and Jacques Cousteau and
that's
just all
where
this
I
amazing
studied,
stuff.
yes.
Okay, exactly. So I was so excited to come on and just be like, to share that and be like, my daughter's so excited in this, and I was telling her about it, so I figured I would ask you if I could do one thing to encourage that, what would it be? At somebody that age, at the preteen age.
You know what? I think that getting her connected and involved with the ocean or marine life is probably the best thing. For me, my parents really encouraged things like volunteering at the local aquarium, doing beach cleanups, even if it was on our own, scuba diving. I became a scuba diver. I became certified and licensed when I was 13 because I was tall enough to wear the equipment. I think nowadays you can actually become licensed by 13. So that kind of really got me connected to it, and I got to see things firsthand. It's always easier to relate to things that way. I think James Cook is wonderful, and as a parent, just so you know, it's a wonderful environment for studying because there's nothing else there. It's like the university in a ghost town, and you can only study, so, great grades are very likely. I think that it's definitely not like the college environment that I think you're probably used to elsewhere in the world. It's a wonderful place, and the ocean is so close. And I would definitely say encourage her to connect that way.
Yeah, and we've taken her to the aquariums, of course, and we arranged, visits backstage where she could, see some of the inner workings and stuff like that. And it's been a really great experience. We sort of started at an early age with, I'm not going to lie, the Crocodile Hunter, that's what we used to watch. And then her interest just kept growing with, Shark Week and everything, and I bought her, the set of The Underwater Adventures of Jacques Cousteau, and she just loves them and shares them with her class. So I really want to, just encourage her. And when I was telling her about you and how you were an actress on the show, but you were also, she was so excited, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to ask her. Because I'm already obsessed with Australia right now, so.
And you know what, tell her, there really isn't right now a female Steve Irwin, or, they're really, the closest things we have are either really important figureheads like Sylvia Earle, or I think Steve Irwin's daughter is now getting involved in that. She's probably the same age as your daughter.
Yeah.
We don't have those like female scientist pioneers in marine sciences that can, really take the lead. And the ocean is our future. I mean, it's the alpha and omega for us as a human, as a human race. It's for the future, for our planet. I think it's something that is so fundamental that she would be playing a huge part in our future. And now I'm going to stop being so corny and cheesy. I can't help it.
Now, how about if you were approached to do something like that? Like, while you're not doing Matador, if you were approached to do a show like that on, in a network or whatever it may be, but would you have any interest in it?
Hands down, yes. Absolutely. If it doesn't interfere with my Matador shoots and schedule, yes, absolutely.
I'm going to start this tweet.
Why not? It merges adventure and science, and it's great.
Be prepared for the 100 tweets I'm going to send to the Discovery Channel.
Now, and something else you keep saying, and you say it very proudly, is you're a geek. You're all into the geeky things, and it's weird for me because growing up in the '80s, in high school in the '80s, like being a geek and a nerd was so unaccepted, and the things that are so acceptable today would not be acceptable then. So it strikes me as when I hear people say that, I still get like, wow, that's really cool. And even my daughter is the same way. Like, she's all into, like, all the, stuff that I secretly was into, but I wouldn't dare tell people when I was going to high school that I was into this stuff.
Yeah, now it's acceptable. Now it's not only acceptable, I think it's starting to become encouraged. It's I know what you mean, like in the 80s, the portrayal as well in the media and in society of what geeks and nerds was real genius, or something like that. Those movies where it's always the guy with the glasses, socially awkward and inept, and
right.
doesn't know how to talk to other people, and is just focused on his books and or his video games or whatever. And I think that now what's happening is both cultures are merging. So now it's not just the fact that geeks are becoming more acceptable, it's also the fact that, the general populace is getting infiltrated by the things that geeks love, and those are also kind of, going that route. So it's a little bit of osmosis happening with these little, two cultures, and I think playing video games and being into science or comic books or, things like that are now very acceptable.
Right.
And I think that, and the other way around, the geek and nerd community are very accepting of other people who maybe were, who knows, the jock in high school or whatever. Like, they're not as exclusive, and it's a wonderful thing that's happening. Think of Comic-Con. How great is that? It's like the mecca of, geek and nerd culture.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that has been a huge part of the whole, I guess we could say, like, worlds colliding of, everybody being able to just gather in one place, and it's just a mecca of fun, and everybody gets along, and it's not like where you go to a concert or you get to deal with people getting drunk or doing drugs and then starting fights. I mean, everybody goes there and is just receptive of each other. And where did you think the world of cosplay now has exploded? I mean, 10 years ago at Comic-Cons, people, I know I was one, I would see people walk up in superhero costumes and giggle. And now it's like, I'm like, with my mouth open, like, oh my God, these costumes are incredible.
There are actual careers that are on building costumes for Comic-Con year-round for people who are going to cosplay professionally. So I think movies have also, and TV have done a huge, job of portraying that into kind of like the mass audiences, things like the Marvel movies and superhero movies and taking comic books. And, at first it might have been a gimmick for a company and a corporation and a brand to make more money. And now look at what's happening. It's amazing. You have all these movies, you have all these fans, and how it's a very family-oriented. Like you said, it's not a concert. There are people with kids and, babies dressed up and their family. It's a very daytime kind of environment. And how wonderful is it that you get there and you find people that are interested in the exact same things that you are, that might be a little bit obscure or that, are not as known, or people, and you have, I have friends who I geek out with because we're playing Magic the Gathering tournaments with people that we were like, oh my God, you play Magic too. You have people with D&D, you have comic books that are suddenly, you think you're the only one in the world reading it, and you get to a place like Comic-Con and there's 17 people in the outfit of the main character. So it's really nice, and you become instant friends with people. I've made friends at Comic-Cons that I'm sure are going to be friends for life.
Yeah. First off, I never would picture you as a person playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, I have my decks. I got this on lock.
And second off, too, something that I know it's kind of like brought me and my daughter together too, because she's all into the world of anime and cosplay, and I'll take her to anime conventions, and I got to admit, the anime conventions I'm a little creeped out at. There's a little weird thing going on at that whole world, but it's still, the whole cosplay thing is incredible. And, of course, naturally, we sit and watch, like the show Heroes of Cosplay. And we both literally sit there on the couch with our mouths just on the floor at the incredible, job these people are doing. And I'm like, I just say to myself, like, these are normal, everyday people that have taken this to such a level where these people should be getting paid by movie companies or something for doing, costumes or something for movies. It's ridiculous.
And some of them do work in costume making and even robotics and animatronics. Like, I know I have friends who've been on Heroes of Cosplay and have been on these shows where they do professional cosplay. And, our friend Grandi Mahara, for example, who is one of the Mythbusters, and he specializes, he's a robotics engineer, and he helps Jenny Newman, who's his girlfriend, he helps her build things on costumes with animatronics, so that the costumes move and they articulate and there's like little snakes coming out of them, or there's like all these, you're like, what? Where are you getting these skills? How are you using them? What? This is insane. And they work for months ahead of time for these conventions so that they can then show them off. And then they use them once, they take pictures, and then they could never use them again, which is kind of insane to me. Because I'm the person that wears the same Halloween costume year after year just because I'm too lazy to, think of a new one.
I'm the person that goes and buys, the tuxedo shirt, and that's my Halloween costume.
I've wrapped myself in aluminum foil and called myself leftovers. That's how last minute my costumes have been. That would be a lot of tinfoil. Yep, and not comfortable at all. Scratches everywhere. I do not recommend it.
Wow. And hopefully it was nighttime because the sun would be blinding for everybody. Now, if you had to cosplay, what would you cosplay as?
I've actually cosplayed before, and the one thing that I kind of like cosplaying most as is a character called Aspen Matthews. She's from a comic book called Fathom. And just, she's a marine biologist, lives here in California, and that's her job. And then she kind of finds out somewhere down the line that she's part of this Atlantean culture where she can breathe underwater. And so there's these wars between these kind of Aquaman, but female version in a way almost.
Right.
She controls water and stuff. So that's kind of the costume that I've gone for or gravitated towards with cosplay.
Gotcha.
And, she's a total badass. So I was like, yes. Other than that, I've done, Sally Ride. Most of my costumes are geek-themed, or, science-themed.
Keeping it with the science.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, unlike Dr. Doom, she would be somebody that could actually call herself a doctor. Okay? Unlike Dr. Doom, who dropped out of college. I just have an issue with that. Dr. Doom and Doctor Who are false. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, it might be sacrilegious for you to insult Doctor Who. I would be careful with that.
Uh-oh. So is it that you are a Whovian as well?
I'm not a Whovian. I haven't seen it yet, but I know that fandom is very loyal and very protective of their doctors.
All right, I'm going to make a deal with you right now, okay? And I want you. I'll stick to my end of the deal if you stick to your end of the deal, and join me in this.
Okay.
I will become a full-fledged Matador, whatever a Matador fan will be, and I will get on board and I will watch all the shows religiously, and I will be on board with Matador. Just please don't become a Whovian and start watching Dr. Whovian. Stay strong with me.
Okay, I will not become a Whovian. I can absolutely commit to that.
Very good. I'm happy. Very good. I refuse to watch that show.
You got yourself a deal.
I refuse to watch that show. Because, first off, how long, what is it? Is it 50 years old or something, the show?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Doctor Who was kind of new to me. It didn't make it to Spain, so sometimes with pop culture references I still struggle a little bit. I've only been here 5 years, so I never got that culture of Doctor Who back home.
Yeah. I just remember growing up and seeing the one Doctor Who. He looked like one of the Marx Brothers, and it's been around for too many years, and there's too many episodes to catch up on, and I don't want to be bothered. So that's why Matador,
Okay.
First season, I can get right on board with that. I'm all good, and I'm making my commitment to you.
Perfect.
And we can piss off the Whovians together.
Yes.
Now, you also host a show as well. Is it on Bite Size TV?
Yeah, it's called Chaotic Awesome, and we're on hiatus right now as well. And it's I host the segment called No Brainer, and it's the science kind of and tech, math and whatever segment. So I cover science news, and it's a really great show. It's hosted by 4 very self-proclaimed nerds and geek girls. We're all kind of the same, age range. We all like the same things, but each one of us has our specialty. So for me, I'm their science correspondent, but, Michelle Morrow, for example, she is into computer gaming and RPGs and all that kind of stuff. And then Chloe Dykstra, she does cosplay and she does video games. We have Marisha Ray, who's our anime comic book girl, and she also does action stuff because she's amazing, and she can kick anybody's butt. But it's a really wonderful show, and it's just 4 girls, and we sit down and we talk about what's happening that week. It's a round table of geekery.
Nice. And it's on hiatus? Why is that? I'm bummed.
Yeah.
I said I'm bummed. I mean, why is it on hiatus?
You know what? I don't know. That has to be taken up with the higher up. I think they're moving a lot of stuff. Bite Size TV was just, I think, purchased by another company, and so there's a lot of moving and shaking happening over there. But for me, that just means I'm on hiatus for both Matador and Chaotic Awesome right now, so I get to travel a little bit.
Well, see, now we're going to put Nick to work on 2 things. All right, so we have Matador. So how many more episodes are left now? You said there's 13 in the season, so we got, what, 6 episodes left?
Yes, sir.
All right, and what night is that on? I can see I got to write this down so I can get on board.
It's on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific. It's Tuesday nights on El Rey Network. And not all cable providers have it, but you can also get it on iTunes or Amazon Prime. And soon on Netflix, I believe.
Awesome. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look, who would have thought you'd be watching TV on iTunes? And all this stuff? It still boggles my mind.
But I'll tell you what, before you go, and I know you probably can't give out any spoilers, but what can we expect for the last half of the season?
Okay, with no spoilers involved, I can definitely tell you that it ramps up and it's like cranking the volume. You know, the action becomes more intense, the spying, the stalker. It's definitely going to escalate on all accounts, and the stakes just keep getting higher for Tony. So you're going to see him in a lot of really tough spots.
I don't know how much more it could be ramped up. They poured liquid nitrogen on a guy's hands and then smashed
It's Rodriguez. You can ramp it up. Don't worry. He knows how to ramp it up.
That's going to be pretty wild.
I could have answered it even easier for her. No Whovians. So, sold. I'm sold. So, all right, anything else you're doing that you'd like to promote before we let you go?
Just watch Matador. It's definitely, the forefront of what's happening with me. And I have a podcast called No Brainer as well that I'm working on, and that's going to be a constant. It's a weekly podcast, so if anyone wants to check it out, I'm very grateful. And it just got started, so I'm happy to have people let me know what they think. And other than that, just, Matador all the way.
Awesome. Very good. I'm sold. I'm in.
Happy to hear that.
Well, I want to thank you for tonight. It's been a lot of fun. You taught us a lot of things, and, good luck with everything.
Thank you so much, and good luck with your daughter and good on her endeavors as well. And
thank you.
Oh, thank you.
On that.
You want to get a bumper, Bay?
Yeah, if you can just cut a quick ID for me before I let you go. This is Christina Ochoa, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
This is Christina Ochoa, and you are listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Ta-da. Awesome. Thanks so much, Christina. It's been a great time.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening and have a great weekend.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. There she goes. Star of Matador.
That was a good interview, man. I was excited. That was like my fanboy moment. Right? That was
she's super cool.
That was the equivalent of, I don't know if you remember back last year when I had the girls from Banshee on. It was pretty much the same thing. Like,
it's amazing. Going back to like the whole geek thing and nerd thing, like, dude, if geeks and nerds looked like that back in my day, the world would be like not the same place we live in today. You know what I mean?
No. Oh, absolutely.
Like, geeks and nerds weren't supposed to look like that. Like, it's a whole new world. Whole new world.
Dude, though, like, in all seriousness, as far as Matador goes, like, I didn't want to say anything when she was on the phone, but there's this scene where lots of these shows have done the scene where, like, the two friends are getting changed and the boy sort of sneaks a peek at the girl and then the girl sort of looks at, but they don't really, you know what I'm saying? And, like, nobody has done it better than they did this season. That's all I'm going to say. Like,
I'm in. I'm going to start going and catching up on it. I'm in. I'm going to start watching it. I have some shows to watch for this weekend's TV Nation, and then I'm going to start investing some time into that as well. So how about that?
Sounds good. And you know, the top 5 for this week. Mackie picked top 5 sports movies.
Oh, yeah, that's, please. He told me that. I already had that in my head, like, boom.
That's funny.